Good morning, Connecticut. This is your host, Nico, reporting for News 7. On today's segment of Biology Biomes, we're exploring the ocean and its vast beauties. Our lovely and talented reporter, Maximiliano Russo, is here to start our journey through the ocean.
Thank you very much, Nico. And now it's time to talk about turtles and how they live their tough lives in lakes.
Max, we're doing ocean biomes, not the freshwater one.
Oh. My deepest apologies to the crew and everyone out there watching my segment. Damn, I wanted to talk about my turtle. Sorry for that interruption. My apologies. Now it's time to learn about the biotic and the abiotic factors that influence the ocean. First off is a splendid table showing the distribution of living organisms in each zone of the ocean. Each of these animals have adapted their lives to live in these different zones comfortably. Now I will say a few examples of each animal in each of the zones. In the epipelagic zone right here, which is the surface, most ocean fish, including the man of war, jellyfish, sea turtles, and seals, live here. In the mesopelagic zone, which is right under the surface, fish like the bristlemouth, swordfish, squid, and wolf eels live here. Below is the bathypelagic zone. Fish there, like the vampire squid, the deep sea angelfish, and the snake dragon live there. Below is the abyssopelagic zone. There, many exotic fish like the angelfish, the deep sea jellyfish, and the deep sea shrimp live there. All the way at the bottom of the ocean, which is the hadal zone, different fish like the jellyfish, viperfish, and tube worms live there. The vast majority of all of these animals all live an example of symbiosis. A perfect example is crabs and sponges. Crabs gather their living armor as they walk across the ocean, cutting pieces of sponge to add to their carapace. Sponges get food from consuming the waste of these crabs, and it secures a surface upon to live on. Now let's go to the ocean's abiotic factors and how they affect living organisms. One important factor is the ocean's rainfall. The average rainfall in the ocean is about 100 inches per year, or 2,540 millimeters. Rainfall for the ocean adds more water to the ocean, or more space for each animal to live in it. It is also a way that cleans the surface of the ocean with new water. An important abiotic factor is the temperature of the ocean. The temperature of the ocean normally varies with the depth of the ocean and the different places of the world in the ocean. The deeper you go into the ocean, the colder it gets. In polar regions, temperature can vary from -2 to -4 degrees Celsius, but then the Persian Gulf can vary from 34 degrees Celsius to 36 degrees Celsius. Water temperature affects living organisms by influencing population, species, and community-level processes. Temperature can force species to spread out from where they live, and even affect fish's larval duration and places to put eggs. The sun, which affects temperature, is also very important to the ocean. The sun causes there to be constant flow of energy that can be transformed into edible chemical compounds eaten by producers. All animals gain their energy from eating those producers and other animals. Having there be a constant flow of energy because of the sun. Abiotic factors don't only affect biotic factors, the opposite can happen as well. Living organisms can affect non-living organisms in a tremendous way. And that way is through water pollution. Ocean animals aren't the only things living organisms do to pollute the water. So do humans in terrible ways. The oxygen levels in the ocean are essential to keep healthy for all organisms. Some animals need it to breathe and swim in high oxygen waters, but some plants crumble and produce even more water pollution due to their lack of oxygen. Well, that wraps up my long segment. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Reporting for News 7 as well, it's Nico Machado with Biodiversity.
Thanks, Maximiliano Russo, for that magisterial insight into the biotic and abiotic factors that influence the ocean.
You're welcome.
Anyways, we will now switch gears into the biodiversity aspect of the vast ocean. First, we must dive into the major primary producers of the ocean. A primary producer is an organism in an ecosystem that produces biomass from inorganic compounds. In almost all cases, they are photosynthetically active organisms. First off, we have phytoplankton. Phytoplankton are the major primary producers in the marine ecosystem. These microscopic, single-celled plants harvest sunlight through photosynthesis and store it as chemical energy before becoming food for tiny creatures called zooplankton. The zooplankton are food for larger animals like small fish and jellyfish, and they turn into meals for larger fish, squids, sharks, marine. The phytoplankton are at the base of these food chains because of all the energy used by these larger organisms come from them. Sharks are the major tertiary producers of the ocean. They eat almost all the organisms below them, and there are very little things they do not eat. Finally, the ocean has many endemic species. Endemic species are plants and animals that exist only in one geographic region. The Galapagos marine iguana, like you see here, is a reptile, and it is one of the most endemic marine species of the Galapagos Islands in the world. It is the world's only iguana that lives and hunts for food in the ocean. It lives the most of the islands, and it can be seen on the pebbly shores, in the marshes, and on the beaches, or even in the water. Now, we have Olaf, who will finish us off with the human impact on the
Great
ocean.
presentations by our fellow speakers. Now we'll be looking at the human impact on our vast ocean that covers 71% of the planet we live on. Although soon enough there won't be much of us left if we mess one big. And on our current track, looks like half the ocean might be oil. Our impact on the ocean is exponentially growing. Habitats once fully alive, such as the Great Barrier Reef, are now dying out, leaving many of our ocean species without viable homes. This reef is home over to 1,500 fish species and a third of the world's soft corals. 134 of the species of sharks and rays, 6 of the 7 species of endangered marine turtles are all living in this habitat, and over 2/3 of it has died out. All this is primarily due to climate change, which holds humans responsible for with the crazy amounts of fossil fuel we're burning and CO2 that is being pumped into air, increasing the concentrations of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. Not only are habitats in our ocean slowly dying out, but because of our impact, we also find that polluting the ocean isn't exactly the best idea. All of the sewage eventually drains into our ocean, ends up endangering our animals as this effect moves up the food chain. Looking at a biomagnification perspective, when chemical toxins and substances like pesticide are introduced into our ocean, they end up tying in with our producers and primary consumers, such as planktons. As this moves up the food chain to the trophic levels, it ends up causing mutations and diseases to be present in these consuming animals, which are also us humans. Now, as there are 100 ways humans impact the ocean, I will only be referencing one more, as time permits for a news report. I'm sure all of you have heard or even watched the movie Deepwater Horizon, and the 4.9 million barrels of oil, or also 134 million gallons that ended up in the ocean, just because of 7 inches of insufficient cement. Small flaws like these have the possibility to lead to catastrophic events that end up endangering our habitats and causing panic to many. This single event exposed thousands of protected species to oil, killing many. 20% of oceanic juvenile Kemp Ridley sea turtles present in this event have perished, and it also led to 50% decline in population of bottlenose dolphins. This 87-day oil spill is just a mere example of what human impact on our ocean is capable of. Gratefully, there are organizations out here that adhere to these problems and are attempting to aid the situation. WWF, one of the world's largest conservation organization, is hoping to reduce humanity's footprint on our world, and one of the fields they're looking at is the ocean. This organization is looking to foster this immense open resource that poses value to everyone, as we've neglected it for too long. Worldwide Fund are looking to expand sustainable fishing that would be supported by the food chain, conserve our Arctic, and restore resilient ecosystems. Overall, the human impact on our ocean is detrimental, and the abuse and pollution taking place is horrible, and hopefully it will change soon. That'll be it for the human impact. Thank you for watching, and now back to you, Nico.
Thank you for listening to our news report on the ocean. I'm getting a call now, so I'm gonna have to go.